Hey. Okay, day 4. We, yesterday in Germany, they made it official that everybody in healthcare has to wear mouth protection, as in masks, Mundschutz. So now during my shift, I have to wear it the whole time, and I have a drippy nose off and on simply from moisture coming out of my mouth, which doesn't help any. Plus, I have an accent in German, right? And so now I have to really work on on pronouncing things as best I can because otherwise the people I'm taking care of really don't understand me now. So that's super helpful. Anyway, not in any way that I'm not saying that it's not a good idea. Just saying it definitely presents problems for a non native speaker. I can only imagine a native speaker who can't communicate well, anyways. That's got to be tough. Okay. Second thing I wanted to mention is we have these Passierschein, which basically means we received from work basically a piece of paper that says I work at such and such a location. I'm allowed to go from my home to this location, and it lists my address on there. So that way, in case later they start to really crack down on people and movement, I will have to carry this on me at all times, along with my passport, which I haven't been for a long time. I hadn't needed to. But this way I can prove my identity and that I'm legally allowed to be moving still. So that's 2. 3, we got a notice at work also about reaching out for people, recognizing that everybody's mental health is going to be stressed right now, and that if they need to reach out or they have concerns or questions to reach out. So that happened. While I was running yesterday, I wanted to mention that I was about ready to cross a crosswalk, and some guy came up to me and was trying to talk to me, and I couldn't quite tell what he wanted. He looked like maybe he was homeless. I couldn't tell. And then he's like, no corona, no corona, because his German also wasn't very good. And then I realized he was asking me for some schnapps, and I was like, no. And he's like, oh, you're doing sport. Okay, cool. And then anyway, whatever. Awkward situation, but I can only imagine. You see on the streets now, you can definitely see the people who suffer from alcoholism. It's a little bit more obvious because they don't have a place to hang out anymore. I also wanted to mention 2 other things about things going on in Germany right now. One was when I was on my bike ride home, they had horse police meandering down towards the main. I assume to patrol the main and make sure people are not hanging out in groups of more than 2. And those horses were big. I've seen horses before. Those horses were big. And then the last one was one thing about German culture, which I don't know what it's like in the US right now, but for culture in Germany, self-policing has always been something they seem to be really good at. Fremdschämen, I feel like I've mentioned this phrase before, but the ability to make, or that somebody would be embarrassed for somebody else because they look weird or they look foreign or they look they're doing something strange that would be embarrassing, right? So that's like an existing cultural thought. And then add to that the fact that Germans are also incredibly effective at self-policing. I think I've mentioned before on my blog anyways about people biking. And if you're biking in a place where you shouldn't be biking, people will yell at you that you're not doing it right. That's normal. As well as now, because everybody's expected to be a certain distance away from each other, especially the elderly right now, and understandably so, will self-police towards other people when they get too close, about Abstand. So please stay far away, right? Trying to enforce the general requirements. Something else I noticed on the Hessen website yesterday, which I don't know if I mentioned, was that in Hessen state I'm living in, it is now expected to last at least up until April 19th, which is through to the Ferien side, the vacation time for around Easter. and that this kind of Einschränkung, this required stay-at-home practice, will be going through that period of time. So it will extend for about a month, as far as we know right now. So those are all the things I wanted to mention. Just what's going on here, how things have changed, and that life continues to get more stressful despite not changing that much, but slowly one really recognizes not being able to greet people properly or say goodbye properly, or not being able to plan anything. I think that's it's pretty intense, right? Anyway, that's what's on this side of the pond. Hope everybody in Oregon's doing well.